Hello Twin Flames, this is Victoria and I'm ready with your daily energy check. I've been away for a couple of days. I'm sure you've appreciated the 1010 portal and done something special with the energy of the day. I know I did my manifestation. And now we're ready to go, ready for another week, another phase, another time. So I'm gonna start with the Oracle card, with the Wisdom of the Oracle deck to see what's going on, get a card of advice for Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, and then we're gonna get into our usual reading to check the energies and the connection at this time. And then based on how much time I have, I will get you some messages and maybe answer one more question for the twin flame journey. Thank you for joining me, and please remember this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Maybe it's not your story for today, maybe you will hear something relevant to your story tomorrow, or at least you will get a general perspective out of what I speak, because I'm trying to add more detail to the twin flame journey in general, to the dynamic, to divine feminine path, and what it takes, and how to make the most out of it, basically. Okay, so we've got for divine feminines, we've got a change in the wind. Surprise, surprise, I was just talking about new phase, new cycle number 12, which is also end of a cycle, right? So yeah, divine feminines are really starting to feel this change in the wind, different quality of energy, and this a little bit of uneasiness, you know, like a little bit of fear because of change, which is okay. It's fine. It's how our psyche, our ego reacts to change. So just, you know, take care of yourself, brace yourself, and take it one day at a time. Divine masculines have got 49, the observer card. So they are being called to observe more of their reality and what's happening in their life. To observe what serves them and what doesn't. To observe whether they're happy and whether the lifestyle that they follow right now actually corresponds to their values and their goals overall. This card is valid. I mean, it seems so obvious, right? That of course you're supposed to be looking at that, right? But for DMs, it's a less aware process. And at this time, what this card means is that if they are not paying attention to what's going on around them, there will be events, circumstances, for some tower moments that will call them to take a close look. They will not be able to avoid it anymore. That's the point. Okay, let's get to the main reading. Let's see what the energies are. I'm back with the Dreamkeeper's Tarot today. It's interesting. Okay, bottom of the deck, the Temperance. So it's generally the alchemy and the molding of like something new out of two different energies, right? Or like kind of like this moment of duality of our world blending into harmony. Most and foremost, it's about masculine and feminine energy, but could be about other aspects of duality as well. And you can see the ostrich skeleton with a heart in its mouth, in its beak, in the distance. In this particular deck, this card is calling me to kind of talk about blending of 3D and 5D, or about the person with their higher self. It's about that. And of course, about being patient. As always, Temperance is calling us to remember that these sacred processes take time. It doesn't happen overnight. So be easy on yourself, on your person, whichever changes you are expecting or you're not expecting. It could be both. Usually it's both, right? Just trust the process. Because that alchemy is happening from the divine. And in more classical decks, you would see an angel, right, pouring the energy like between cups, right? It's somebody, it's a divine creature It's not done by us ourselves. And that's why it's a major arcana. Okay, so Divine Feminines, you've got Page of Pentacles, Five of Cups, and Nine of Cups. So there is definitely a bit of a sorrow here from some of the plans, goals, and dreams that didn't come true, especially with regards to the love situation. It's a sort of a grieving process. For some of you, for most of you, it's connected somehow with the journey with your relationship with the Divine Masculine. For some, it could be about something else in life that you put your energy into, that was a project, an idea, and it didn't work out the way you expected. And there's also a bit of a grieving process right now to reconcile with that, to accept that, and to move on to something new and shiny. But that's ultimately, that's what you're asked to do, right? To assess what is really exciting for you right now, whether there is a new journey, new leaf, new slate, fresh slate that you want to start, what seems obvious, what ignites you. If there's nothing right now, then finish the healing process, help yourself with that, right? You can also take steps for it and be open to new ideas. If you already have something on your mind, this is one of the ways to also heal and release the pain from something that didn't succeed, at least in your eyes, and move towards a new vision of success. And I'm hearing that it's going to be a lot more efficient and productive than you imagined for that old idea. If it's about the person, then this new phase of the relationship is going to be much more fruitful than that mode, that communication, that pattern that you were expecting, that you wanted to achieve. Whether it's an apology or next step in the relationship, you wanted them to tell you something. That particular thing could have been like something that you imposed on the situation. The Spirit is telling us it's time to release that, to accept that it maybe wouldn't be the best thing to have on your journey, on your path, for both of you, right? And it's not just about you, it's about both of you. And trust that this new idea, this new turn of events with your person is gonna work out even better than you hoped. Okay, Divine Masculines have got Four of Pentacles, Three of Wands, and Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, so Divine Masculines are very much focused on their job and making money these days. That's to put it in short and bluntly. It's about that. And a lot of times when Divine Masculines get scared or confused about this connection, their connection with the higher self or with DF, that's often their escape. That's often what they return to, right? Because that's what they are wired for. And that's where their intuitive action is towards, right? To provide, to work, have a job, yeah. And we have one of the cliches is like old-time advice that if you have any troubles, you're worried about something, or even if you're sad about something like the Five of Cups situation for DFs, it's good to take yourself into work, to keep yourself busy, not to think too much about that. And that's really a Divine Masculine, or actually actual masculine, right? It's a masculine way of solving this kind of issues. Masculines are not particularly good with feelings, emotions, and energetic exchange. So especially if something big happens that scares them, puts them off, even puzzles them, it's like, wow. Even if it's a new insight, new realization, it could be a lot to take in. And in order to process it in their heads, that's the way to do it, through work, through a job. So they're looking at where there was finances. They've been trying to be careful, be safe with them lately. That's what I'm getting. Of course, it could be not just actual money. It could be time, energy, property, any kind of resources that they possess, right? But they're trying to kind of stay a little bit more frugal and keep it to themselves, kind of like saving for a rainy day, I'm hearing. And at this time, they are setting intention to also expand. They're being intuitively guided that just putting more hours of work is not going to give them financial success that they're looking for. There's more to it than that. And they're looking for ways to expand and not being overcautious to kind of keep everything in and, you know, take safe steps towards something bigger. To take some risks, there you go. They're asked to take some risks for their financial growth. For the connection, we have Death, Five of Wands, and Eight of Swords. Yeah, so this is the kind of three big challenges, I would say, like the challenge cards, right? Challenge accepted. Two are presented, two are the minor arcana, so we basically, it's created by people, among people, could be resolved by people as well. This death experience is, of course, part of the divine plan. It's part of your overall timeline and path, and this is something more, this is not something that you can change, but it's about what you do with this energy, right? You could be dealing with a Scorpio, but most and foremost, it's the time of big transformation for twins in general, right? And we've been talking a lot about astrological events, about the portals, but the truth is, it is like the shift is in the air, and it means very different things for different twin flames. But one thing is clear, it's definitely connected with working through the karma with other people, right? Big time, inner work around how we are perceived by others and how we perceive others. How much do we do people pleasing? How much are we still in our heads about what our parents were telling us is the right to the wrong thing to do, what the TVs and books have taught us? How much are we really guided in our life by all of those beliefs and those people in our lives, rather than our intuitive knowledge or the laws of the universe? Check yourself, do a bit more observation and acknowledgement through journaling, or even through observation of where you had to make any decisions, of how that decision-making process looked like in your head. And if it was about, if eventually you made a decision out of what other people did, or what you heard, or what would look good for others, like I didn't want to hurt his feelings, so I did X, Y, Z. Or I didn't want my family to start like chasing me about this or giving them a hard time about it, so I did ABC, right? Check yourself how much of decisions are made out of that idea, with that thinking, and start changing things around and see how you would play it out if you wanted to follow the truth as much as possible, thinking that it's in everybody's best intention at the end of the day, even if it doesn't feel like that in the moment. In the moment it looks like this. Oh, actually this card is not the worst of Five of Wands, but still, this other lady doesn't even have her head on, it's just a piece of fire instead of the head. And then of course there's self-sabotage in our inner work around self-talk, how we perceive ourselves, our own thoughts, mind, appearance, gifts, you know, who we are, how it's about self-love ultimately, right? So the question of self-love, and stopping the self-destructive thoughts. Stop thinking that it's all about you, or that you're only causing trouble, or that somebody doesn't like you and that's a big problem for you, etc., etc. If you're given situations in life that point you to these scenarios, that's specifically for you to pay attention to it, to do something about it. Anything that doesn't make you happy and joyous is something to look at closely. It was like a, you know, magnifying glass, and see what you can do to turn them around, or to avoid being in those situations going forward, but in a healthy way, not through avoidance, but through healing it. Okay, what do we do? Yeah, I'm gonna get some cards from the Hermit Tarot between the twins, and we're gonna end here today. It was a little bit longer than I expected, but some big energies today. So let's see what Divine Masculines would like to tell Divine Feminines if they have a chance. And by the way, if you haven't yet, check out the meditation products I have published on my website. mindfulbamboo.com. There's a link in the description box below. One meditation, speaking about the inner work we're talking about, one meditation is called the Galactic Meditation. It's about connecting with the higher self and with the kind of like cosmic subconscious, and like connecting with that high vibration energy. Another one is more about actual inner work, and it's a set of meditations to work through traumas and pains at different stages of your life, starting with the time of conception and the time you spend in the womb of your mother, and ending with the adult years. So it's a bit more complex, and if you have questions about either of those products, let me know. And of course, I started practicing extended readings. I'm not gonna do one today, but I'll definitely come back to it this week, and I'll publish some more extendeds for you to take a deeper dive into the situation if it calls to you. Okay, so for Divine Masculines, we have, I left because you told me to. I worry about us a lot. Now is not the time. Yeah, so there is this feeling of kind of like separation and twins spending time on their own. But like I said, for Divine Masculine, it's going into work. It's not the time, right? They're seeing some real or imaginary hardships in their financial situation, their 3D life, and they're taking care of that. Basically, that's the gist of it. Now is not the time. I left because you told me to. They are hinting at them feeling your energy, and that's true, because now let's get some messages from VFs. Even if it wasn't an argument per se, but if you were not in the right state of mind, in the right vibration of energy, they could sense that. And communication breaks. It's kind of a safety switch if you think about it that way, so that if like to prevent twins from communicating under these like low vibrational energies and create more negative karma and hurt each other's feelings, something that they will have to reconcile going forward anyway, right? Because that's the point of it, really. We're doing inner work, like inner child work about our childhood, which is a big deal, but it's equally important to heal and reconcile what's happening with us these days. It's just as important. Otherwise, it's also going to become a new burden that you will be carrying with yourself. You don't want to do that with your twin, right? So Divine Feminines are sending the following messages. One Pentacle, I'm sorry, I want to get you drunk and I lie awake thinking about our future. Yeah, definitely something went on here in this situation that I'm, in this collective that I'm sensing today, that I'm reading for today. So definitely Divine Feminines regret some of the words or actions they took. They definitely want a new beginning, some sort of communication in the physical, some sort of compromise I'm hearing of how to keep each other in each other's lives, but not make too much of a deal about it. And of course there is the physical drive, let's call it that way. Okay, I think I'm gonna end here for today. Thanks very much for staying with me, guys, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.